Hey guys, Mr. Enyart, Mr. Enyart's Mathematical Compositions. This is Grade 6, Module 6, Lesson 3 from Engage New York or Eureka Math. Let's do it. All right, so Grade 6, Module 6, Lesson 3. We're going to be talking about creating dot plots and frequency tables. And key things here are that both of these show the frequency of something. Frequency is just how often it happens. Right? So when you see frequency table, you're just looking at how many times something happened and you chart it or you tally it. So let's just start with a dot plot. A dot plot consists of a title, like pretty much every graph, a label underneath the number line that you draw, so obviously a number line, and the number line usually just goes from your lowest number, minimum, to your highest number, maximum. Then, based on however many numbers you are, you just put dots for how frequently that happens. So however many fives you see, in this case, looking up here real quick, you only really see one. You would just put one dot above the 5. And then for 6, looking up through here to count your 6s, you got 1, again, just 1. But then when you get to 7, you got 1, 2, 3, 3 sevens. And so you'd put them on. And it would end up looking like this. So I ended up with 29 total dots to make sure, and I kind of dotted them up here as I went. You can check mark. I wouldn't ever just cross them out to where you can't see them because you want to always be able to see your original data. But there were 29 students, so each of these numbers represents one of the 29 students and how much sleep they get on a school night. And you can see now very quickly by our dot plot that our most frequent is 9, right? And then 8. So these are the most common. And a frequency chart, though, is slightly different because you're not going to use dots. You're going to use tally marks. I'll show you that right now. So a frequency table is going to be a 3-column table with headers at the top, and I'll explain those in a second. And you're going to use this, your data, and you're going to plug it in similarly to what I do here. So the header in this situation, since we're dealing with hours of playing sports, is just hours playing sports. Tally and frequency. Now the tally are just good old-fashioned tally marks. So every time you see a 0 up top, you're just going to put a tally, right? So I see 3 up there, so I'm going to have 3 tallies for my zeros, and then I'm going to write the numeric version or standard version of that under frequency. So the frequency is just the number of tallies for that amount of hours played, right? Then you do your ones, which looks like I see 1, 2, 3, 4 up there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so I'm going to write frequency as 4, and I'm going to finish this like so. And so when you're done, you can see the tallies, which usually, you can kind of look and kind of get the idea of, oh, hey, that's kind of like a dot plot, but sideways and with lines. And then the frequency, you just find the highest number. Here's your max, right? Or not max, this is your mode. The maximum was 12 hours, right? But 7 people did 3 hours, right? 5 did 2. So this is the bulk right here, the meat, if you will. 12's definitely an outlier, way down but past 2 zeros. I'd say even 8 is an outlier. Heck, even maybe 6 is an outlier because there's a 0 at 5, and this is where the bulk of the data is. And so you can get an idea of what the graph would look like if you were to chart this or graph this based on the frequency table. So now we know dot plots and frequency tables. Which ones do you like? Or which one do you like more? So like always, give the problem set a go, pause the video, do them all, and then check back. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the answers down, so make sure you are done with yours. Here we go. So here we go. Our dot plot up here went from 8 to 16, our lowest to our highest, and then I plotted the points and counted that I had all 23 accounted for. Then it's easy right now, right? 11 is in the center. If you count how many are on the right and on the left, 11's where you end up in the center. 8 and 16 are your low and your high, your minimum and your maximum. And then I circled the bottom 3 numbers because since these are goals scored, if you lost, chances are you scored the least amount of goals. Now for the frequency table, we did our tally marks and our frequency. To prove that we got all 21 rolls, we can add up our frequency or count our total tallies and make sure it is also 21. Important step. Then we can answer the question that 7 is in the center. There's 21 numbers, and 7's right when you get to that 7 is the very middle. And then it also is the sum that occurred the most often. And for our final two questions, we have our dot plot of 25 small boxes of raisins. And so if we add these, we should get to 25. So it's pretty easy to make a frequency table from a dot plot and vice versa. We're just going to get to 46. We have one dot there, so we tally in frequency. 47's a 0 tallies, and 48's a 4. Then we have 3, then 8, 4, 2, 1, and 2. And if somebody opened one that had 63 raisins, I would have to assume that it'd be a much bigger box. So I said no, not much bigger, but I said no because it's way higher than even the max of this data. I mean, the maximum is 54, and most of the time it's at 50 raisins in a box. So to have an extra 13, which is also 9 higher than the max, seems a pretty much too far of an outlier to be that same size box.